Hello everyone, welcome to your weekly tech update, the show that explores the newest, coolest, and craziest side of tech available on the interwebs. I'm your tech ninja, Ray McNeil. Coming up on the program today, Amazon Map Tracking gives you live updates on exactly where your package is. IBM built a handheld tricorder, and happening in this week's What The, a farmer accused of murder blames the gunfire on an eggplant. That and a whole lot more coming up on your weekly tech update next. Hi everyone. Many of us obsessively check our packages' tracking info. Luckily, a lot less checking has to be done these days thanks to Amazon Prime, but oftentimes we just can't wait to get our fingers on something cool that we've ordered. Amazon seems to understand this widespread obsessiveness and has released Amazon Map Tracking. It allows you to check precisely where your Amazon package is at any point in the trip. The feature officially debuted in a few states back in April, but it's now available to the entire US. The interface gives an estimate on when to expect the package, how many stops away the driver is, and a map with markers showing where the truck is and where your house is. While the feature itself is very helpful, some warn that the map tracking could be used maliciously to see when neighbors are receiving packages, which could become a larger issue around the holidays. There's also the fact that we'll now all be watching our delivery drivers' every move like hawks. Thanks to 3D printing, the fabrication of prosthetic arms, lightweight EV parts, and even space travel have benefited from lower costs of production. Eager to build on that is the team at MIT, a team of researchers in the Computer Science and Artificial Intelligence Laboratory, also known as CSAIL. They've built a fleet of self-driving boats that could provide a tantalizing glimpse into the future of autonomous transportation. Unlike the curvature of a regular boat, these 3D printed boats adopt a rectangular structure, a deliberate design that could allow them to move sideways or any direction they need, attach to other objects, and potentially reassemble into floating bridges or platforms for floating music events and mobile food markets. To bring them to life, researchers printed a rectangular hole and connected 16 different sections together. They're agile and resistant to force, thanks to 4 conveniently positioned thrusters, and can smoothly skim across water. Each one measures 4 by 2 meters in size. It's fitted with a power supply, mobile and radio frequency beacons, and a Wi-Fi antenna. Imagine shifting some infrastructure services that usually take place during the day on the road, deliveries, garbage management, waste management, to the middle of the night and on the water using a fleet of these autonomous boats. There's still work to be done before these boats hit waterways. The team acknowledges that mass discrepancies between people and ferried goods need to be accounted for. Transferring the 3D designs into a real-world situation will require extensive testing, particularly positioning and orientation. Trials are already being carried out on a small scale. However, the challenge now is to see whether the algorithm controlling these 3D boats will still function accurately as their size increases. Uber back in the news this week, still dealing with the fallout from the fatal self-driving crash that happened in Arizona 2 months ago, but the ride-hailing service is forging ahead with its next big project. Uber has announced that it will invest $20 million to build an advanced technology center in Paris. That's where the company will launch Uber Elevate, a flying taxi service that it hopes to launch by 2020 in Dallas and Los Angeles, plus a third undetermined city outside of the US. Kind of guessing that's going to be Paris now. When ATCP opens this fall, it won't focus solely on building flying taxis. Uber has already shown off 3 fully functional prototypes of its vertical takeoff and landing helicopters. Beyond manufacturing, Uber will hire experts focused on artificial intelligence and machine learning, air traffic control, rooftop charging stations, and even city planning. In its press release, Uber says its first project will include machine learning-based transport demand modeling, high-density, low-altitude air traffic management simulations, integration of innovative airspace transport solutions, and the development of smart grids to support future fleets of electric transport on the ground and in the air. While many other companies want to rely on AI alone to fly their taxis, Uber surprisingly has other plans in mind. Uber's white paper discusses how its AI will be used for pilot augmentation, assisting with the vehicle's trajectory in relation to the desired path, and also adjusting many vehicle state parameters to force the trajectory to conform to its desired route, so that the pilot won't have to really do anything. With this system in place, Uber's hoping that its pilots won't be required to go through the usual 500 to 1,200 hours of training to operate its taxis, because they'll only be called upon to fly during emergencies. This could be interesting. That small drone you got for Christmas may soon need a license plate of sorts. U.S. aviation regulators said they intend to require for the first time that drone owners replace a government-assigned ID number on the outside of the devices, according to a little-noticed filing. Current rules require drone owners to register with the FAA, and more than 1 million people have done so. They must identify their drones, but the marker can be placed inside the battery compartments if they want, or other internal areas where it can't be readily seen. The FAA's move is the latest step taken to bring greater control over the new frontier in flight that's been plagued by rule violations, a handful of collisions with other aircrafts, and growing concerns about their potential use by terrorists and criminals. This action will require small unmanned aircraft owners to display the unique identifier assigned by the FAA upon completion of the registration process on an external surface of the aircraft. Use of unique identifiers is a long-standing requirement for traditional planes and helicopters, and they would allow tracking of the growing number of drones. The FAA at the close of 2016 was preparing to issue regulations allowing expanded drone flights over people's heads, but that was delayed by the FBI and Homeland Security concerns that unmanned devices could be used by criminals or terrorists. Similar to requiring external markings to identify a drone, the FAA is also crafting a requirement that drones broadcast their identity too.